Hello and welcome to Don't Ask Me Shit, the podcast where we stop pretending, we stop sugarcoating, and we stop dancing around the real issues. I'm Coach Dorie, a stress management and relationship recovery coach, here to help you heal from toxic family, friendships, and romantic partners. This is the space for the conversations people avoid: relationships, accountability, self sabotage, healing, boundaries, and all the messy stuff that folks don't want to talk about. But we're going to talk about it on here. And remember, you can always ask Coach Dorie, but if you're not ready to do the work, don't ask me shit, because I'm not here to co-sign your excuses, and I'm not here to, you know the deal. I'm here to help you grow. That's it. So let's get into it. Today's guest is Laura, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce your last name. You can do that when I let you introduce yourself. But Laura is a gifted spiritual counselor, let me do this again. Laura is a gifted spiritual counselor, an intuitive coach, and a psychic medium known for her uncanny accuracy, deep compassion, and soul level clarity. She helps those who feel lost, stuck, and overwhelmed, or if they're in transition, to reconnect with their purpose, release energetic baggage, and realign with who they truly are. Laura, you can clean that up because I know I just messed that all up. Give us a little
Oh,
insight on who you are and how did you get into this space of coaching?
well, the last name is actually really easy. You probably would have got it right anyway. It's Hoorweg. It's actually
Horwig. Okay.
Hoorweg. Yeah, it's really simple. It's Dutch, so it's easy. What I found is that I love to work with spirit. I've been very, very spiritual connected ever since I was a child, and
Mhm.
I use my spiritual gifts to help people make their lives work. Okay, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's relationships, whether it's business, I help a lot of people in their businesses as well, whether they're going through a transition or they simply want to grow. But I could take half of what you said and throw it in there because I always say that we go deep, but I'm not about fluff. And I'm
Mhm.
definitely the most grounded woo-woo person you could ever meet. Okay.
Mhm.
Because I combine my spiritual gifts with my vast life experience. I've had a challenging life and been through all kinds of things. So I can really relate to where my clients are at this particular moment. And I always say traditional counseling and coaching is wonderful, but it has a limitation because when you're working from book knowledge, it's a whole different experience than when you can look somebody in the eye and say, I know exactly how you feel because I've
Mhm.
been there. Okay. It's the same premise as support groups. That's why support groups work because you're dealing
Mhm.
with people who have been where you've been. And when I can combine that deep dive of spiritual knowledge with that deep dive of personal experience, it all works out really well.
That's cool. Let's talk about this woo-woo part of this for a minute, because I know a
Okay.
lot of people they hear intuitive coach, they hear medium, and they just shut down immediately because
Yeah.
it doesn't fit with a lot of our traditional religious views and
Mhm.
things. But I'm of the belief that, everybody needs something different. Everybody's healing journey isn't the same, so what works for others may not work for you. Um, how do you bridge when you deal with a lot of, because I think I read that you were trained, I'm sorry, there's something here about religious training, not necessarily
I
training.
didn't have any religious training, really.
Right, but
I didn't grow up in a religious family at all. But
right.
I did a lot of work in spiritual training and energy healing and on my intuitive gifts. So I'm training, so I'm just pretty open-minded. But you cover that really quickly because I have always had my clients span every organized religion you can think of, every thought belief system you can think of, and even people who can would consider themselves agnostic or even atheists.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't get in the way. It's kind of like Buddhism. Like people believe that Buddhism is actually a religion. Buddhism, it's actually a thought form. So there
Mm-hmm.
can be
Okay.
Buddhists, there can be Christian Buddha, Buddhists, there can be, any. So it's more of a thought form, and it's what the reason is some of our issues arise from this lifetime. Okay, and we can dive deeply into those. But a lot of times we carry over challenges and energies and lessons from past lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not consciously aware of those. And if you're not consciously aware of something, you can't release it, you can't heal it, you can't let it go. So sometimes just literally knowing where a problem or a block or a challenge came from, just knowing that information, it can just totally dissolve that and you're able to let that go. So it's really a powerful thing. So
Okay.
don't be
Cool.
scared off by the woo-woo aspect because, like I said, it's not that woo-woo. Well, I shouldn't say that. I can get as woo-woo as you want to be, but I'm pretty darn practical. That's why I was laughing when you said, what's your little tagline? Uh, don't talk shit or something, or
Don't ask me shit.
don't ask me shit. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm kind of the no bullshit
Right.
spiritual girl.
Right.
Because I don't believe in handing people a lot of fluffy answers. We dig deep.
Mm-hmm.
We dig. That's what I love about working with spirit, actually, is spirit
Mm-hmm.
gets to the root of the problem. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
traditional counseling and coaching tends to be what I call band-aid solutions, which means it's treating symptoms as
Right.
opposed to treating root causes. The root cause, you're just going to cut that problem or that challenge is just going to keep recurring in your life until you
Right.
heal that root cause.
Right. I jokingly say that don't ask me shit, but that's actually where that comes from because a lot of people just want surface answers and
Yes.
that's not going to get you the healing that you want. And so I wanted to create a platform where all people can come and find healing here in any form that they need it in.
Right.
But if you're not ready to face the reality, then, don't waste your time because it's you're not going to get there. You're going to keep running into the wall until
Yep.
you're ready to open up to whatever is there for you. So, my first question then is um, you say that you help people reconnect with their purpose. What are some signs that you can tell when someone is completely disconnected from who they really are?
Uh, Number one, I can see it in their energy because
Okay.
actually, the vast majority of people, we are all or have been at some point in time totally disconnected from our authentic self. I speak about the
Yes.
authentic self. You could use the term soul self. Some people like to
Mm-hmm.
think about it as their inner child.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, because we come in that way. We come in to each lifetime with a plan that we want, things that we want to accomplish, things that we want to learn, things that we want to teach, all those things. But the problem is, as soon as we come in, family, religion, culture,
Mm-hmm.
advertising, all these things, education, all
Mm-hmm.
these things tell us who we should be, and they basically brainwash us out of who we really are. So it's if you want to look at your purpose, the first step to looking at your purpose or discovering your mission, if you want to call it that, is discovering who is your authentic self, getting that deep connection within. Because if you don't have
Mm-hmm.
that connection within to yourself, you are never going to find out what your purpose is. You are never going to be able to connect authentically actually with anyone else if you're not connected to your authentic self.
Well, how do you know when you're connected? I mean, and we'll get into the work of connecting, but for the person that's asking that question, how will you know when you're connected to your authentic self?
Well, I think it's more of how when you don't. Okay, when this is how people that they're not connected. If
Uh-huh.
people suffering, like, there's a lot of talk now about imposter syndrome. If you
Mm-hmm.
always feel like you're not yourself, if you feel like you're just going through the motions, if you
Mm-hmm.
feel like, you step into the room and you're talking with people and you feel like nobody sees you, nobody knows who you really are, right there is a really good place to start, because that tells you that you're not really connected to yourself. Because I tell you, when you're really connected to your authentic self, people see you. They might not
Mm-hmm.
always like what they see, okay, but that's their problem, okay?
Right.
If you showing up as you need to show up as your authentic self, and if somebody doesn't like it, oh well, that person isn't, we're not life. I'm going to dispel a major belief system. Life
Uh-oh.
is not a popularity contest. Okay. We're
Really?
brought, yeah, we're brought up to believe that it is, that
Mm-hmm.
we have to have we have to have everybody liking us. Okay. And this is where a lot of that false self comes from, is we twist and turn ourselves and remake ourselves and put on all these masks to make ourselves acceptable, or what we think is acceptable to others. And when
Mm-hmm.
you start feeling those things and you start realizing that you don't feel like yourself, people aren't treating you the way that you want to be treated, and you feel like you're not being seen, those are really big signposts to know that you're not connected with yourself. And the other big one is, if you're always feeling tense or anxious or all these things, you're not connected. Okay. You just, when you're connected to your authentic self, you can be in any circumstance, anything can be going on around you, and you can still feel that grounded peacefulness inside of you. And a lot of people have never ever felt that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a difference. When you feel it, you know it.
You know it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard. This is why I said it's
Yeah.
easier just to describe what it's not than what
Yeah.
it actually is. But I guarantee you, when you start feeling it, you're going to be going like, wow, because that's when
Yeah.
people really start to wake up. But I'm going to tell you, it takes work.
Mm.
And my no bullshit thing is, a lot of people come to me looking for this magic pill. Okay.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
want somebody to do it for them.
Yeah.
I can help them. Spirit can guide them in the right directions. But I'm going to tell you right now, the work of getting it done is up to you.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to work on yourself, don't waste your time and don't waste my time. Because I can tell right away,
Exactly.
people who
Yeah.
will come in and want somebody else to do it all for them, or they're looking for this magic pill, this
Right.
magic ritual, this magic um, activities that they can do, that's suddenly going to make them into the person that they want to be without doing any work. I can
Right.
tell you right now that does not exist. Okay.
So now that, I mean, with you and I and a lot of people that have done the work, we understand on this side the freedom that comes from tapping into our authentic self. Why do
Yeah.
you think so many people are afraid to look at even this spiritual side of things in order to tap into that?
Well, I think a lot of people are absolutely terrified of what they might find.
Mm,
Okay. Because they've been given this kind of cookie cutter. I don't care whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, what economic bracket you fit in, what religion you're in. Everybody has been given like a file with all these characteristics of what the perfect person looks like.
oh my
Okay.
gosh. Yeah.
And nobody is that person. And why would you ever want to be that person in the first place?
Right.
Because your absolute gift from, I don't care whether you say it as God, from the universe, your gift is, as a human being, is your unique individuality and your unique gifts. And
Hmm.
that's what you want to be. You don't want to be this cookie cutter, you of what society, religion, culture, all those things tell you you should be. And this is where the brainwashing comes in. And this is
Mhm.
why so many people are afraid of actually finding out who they really are, because they're afraid of what they're going to find out. They would
And when
rather
you,
torture themselves
oh my
wearing all
gosh,
these different masks
yeah,
and feeling totally unfulfilled. There's another cue, okay?
yeah,
If you're always, no matter what you do, if you're always feeling totally unfulfilled, you can be guaranteed that you are not being your authentic self.
wow. So with someone that's feeling stuck, say, hey, I want that freedom. I want to know who I am. I'm feeling stuck. I'm overwhelmed. What are the first steps that you would tell that person that they can take to start realigning themselves with their authentic self?
With their authentic self. The most powerful tool is called meditation, meditation, and meditation.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like real estate, location, 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 except it's meditation, meditation, meditation. Now the reason is if you okay, I'm gonna say something I don't think I've ever said. If there was ever anything close to a magic pill, it's
Mm-hmm.
actually meditation. And the reason is, okay, meditation covers all four pillars, which supports your entire life and your ability to be your authentic self.
Okay.
Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. All four in one simple activity. Okay.
And repeat those again. Physical, mental,
Physical, mental, emotional, and
emotional, and
spiritual.
spiritual. Okay.
Okay. So having a meditation practice, and when I say meditation practice, it's called a practice because that means you're doing it every day. Now, it doesn't have to, people get scared of meditation because they have this idea that you have to, it's like hours and hours of chanting Om or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's all different kinds of meditation. And it doesn't have to be 20 to 30 minutes a day. You're golden. Okay. Even if you start out
Mm-hmm.
10, 15 minutes, at least that's a start and you're building up. And I always recommend to my clients and everybody else for that matter that the best time to meditate is first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is twofold. One, often you'll notice, I noticed this myself. I don't know sometimes what goes on at night, whether it's dreaming, whether we're shedding a bunch of stuff, but a lot of time you can wake up in the morning and you just feel really off, or you feel really anxious, or you feel angry. Like a lot of people come to me and they say, I don't know why, I just woke up so angry. Meditation will get rid of that. Okay. If you
Wow.
don't meditate, that feeling, that off feeling, whatever it is that you wake up with, it will continue throughout the day and it will grow. Okay. If you do
Right.
nothing about it. Okay. The other reason is that, well, it's kind of a combined reason. The reason is when you meditate in the morning, it sets your energy for the entire day. Okay. Regardless of the way you woke up, even if you woke up in a great mood,
Mm-hmm.
meditating first thing in the morning is going to ensure that that is going to continue. It's going to ensure that you're grounded. It's going to ensure that you, regardless of what's going on around you, that you're better able to deal with it. So meditation is the prime rule. I always recommend like there's all like I said, it's an experimentation on finding what is the best meditation for you. Okay, because again, there's no one size fits all. The
Right.
best meditation that I recommend for somebody who's new to meditation or somebody that has a great difficulty that's tried meditation and it hasn't worked very well for them is guided meditation. Okay, because it's the
Okay.
simplest one. Trying to get into one of these advanced silent meditation practices is very difficult for a lot of people. I still do primarily guided meditation myself because it just
Mm-hmm.
works better for me.
Okay. Does that help? Because I have to admit, I've tried different forms of meditation, so
Yeah.
I'm aware that there are different ways, and there's one that I like better than others, but what it's so boring, and I don't know if I should even say that or not, but I feel bored. And I don't know if it's just my neurological differences. I don't know if I'm just overwhelmed. I don't know what it is. So speaking to people that may have attention issues, what
Okay.
what what can help them with
Well,
the
number one, it's your mindset. Okay.
okay.
Is a lot of
So I need
people
to stop
that,
saying I'm bored.
yes, you need to stop saying you're bored. But the reason I would say that in this will help others, your personal situation is you actually, the actual belief under I'm bored is I'm wasting time.
Oh,
Okay. Because a lot of
wow.
people today figure if you're doing nothing,
Yeah.
if you're not accomplishing, like we've been so brainwashed that every second of the day we got to be accomplishing something, not only accomplishing something, but we've got to be multitasking and we've got to be doing at least three things at once.
Wow. That
Okay.
just cleared
So
up a whole
that's,
lot.
yeah, exactly. So simply clicking, and part of that I'm wasting time is under that, there's always layers. Under that is I'm not worthy. I'm
Mm.
not worthy of having this time for myself. I'm
Where
not
does that
worthy in treating myself well.
where does that come from?
That comes from all kinds of messages. I guarantee you, everyone got the message in multiple forms when you were young. Okay, it was embedded into your consciousness that you were not worthy or you're not good enough. Okay. I'll give
You
you a
don't deserve.
dramatic example. Okay. This is a dramatic example, but it'll help people see better. When I was in a senior in high school, I came home with the absolute best report card every parent would want to see. It was a straight A
Mm.
report card. I was going to win some prizes because of my marks and blah, 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 blah. My mother stood there and she read all the way through it. She looked up at me over the report card and just said, "You know, Laura, imagine what you could have done if you'd really tried."
Oh, wow.
Okay. That is a huge message, but we're given that kind of message all the time by our parents, okay? A lot of times by teachers,
Hmm.
coaches, like I mean, like in sports and stuff, where, this whole idea of we're never good enough because life is a competition,
Mm.
okay? And you've always got to be better than the next guy or the next girl, okay? That's where that feeling comes from. And one of the best ways to start solving that is to really start being mindful and telling yourself that I'm worthy of rest. I'm worthy of being taken care of. Okay.
Mm.
Because that's what meditation is. It's self-care. And
Right.
meditation is part of a greater bubble, which I call self-care.
Mm.
Self-care is the most important thing in this world today because we
Hmm.
have to deal with, I don't have to go into great detail. We have to deal with all this stuff going on around us
Hmm.
in our personal lives, and then all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, which makes it even more imperative. Okay. So if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not doing self-care, you're going to be a mess. There's just no two ways about it. Self-care used to be optional. As my
Hmm.
guides say now, self-care is an absolute imperative because you won't make it.
Right.
Seriously. Why do you think the levels of anxiety are just like peaking? Why do you think the suicide rates are so high? Why do you think people are having, and I'm going to tell you right now that I believe, let me preface this first. These things like ADHD and attention deficit syndrome and all these, there's a couple of them.
Neurodivergent
Yeah,
or
there's all kinds of things going on.
yeah.
I believe there are some instances where there's actually a chemical deficiency, okay,
Hmm.
in the brain. There's no question. There always has been a small group like that. But this
Hmm.
huge explosion is the only word I can say. This huge,
Mm,
especially in adults, okay?
hmm. Oh,
Adult
yeah.
ADD is caused by environmental factors, and it's caused by the fact that we're not taking care of ourselves. Because we're under so much stress and so much pressure, and a lot of that is it's put on to us by the world, but it's also we're putting it on ourselves.
Wow.
So
Wow.
self-care uh, can actually cure, definitely bring the volume of it down, but in some cases actually cure those problems. Because if you have a chemical issue, then that's one thing. But if it's
Mm,
brought on by environmental issues, that's something that's totally solvable.
right. Now, I'm surprised. There's still a lot of people, when they hear the term self-care, they think massages, they think
No. Well, I'm
buying
not going to
yourself.
say no. Treating
Right.
yourself and actually the one that you happen to mention, massage, is
Hmm.
actually a really good one. Okay.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I know a lot of, especially women, they'll talk about bubble baths and
Right.
manicures and petties and all that. That's great, okay,
Right.
but that's not really treating yourself is great because that's it. Again, it sends a message to you, I'm worthy, okay? But if
Mm-hmm.
that's all you're doing, it doesn't even start going deep enough, okay?
Right.
One of the main things is meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Massage is another one because what
Mm-hmm.
massage really does is it gives you that tactile sense. Okay. There's
Hmm.
so many people right now that are emotionally and mentally unhealthy because nobody ever touches them. We went through
Yeah.
COVID, right? And it was
Yeah.
like all this thing is, oh, you can't get near anybody, you can't touch anybody, you can't hug anybody. Okay. It
Right.
was bad enough before that. Now it's put everybody into that frame and we never really got out of it. Okay.
Yeah. I read somewhere.
It's also a big factor in loneliness. So massage and the other thing is it helps to get we store a lot of negative energies in our muscles and our joints.
Mm-hmm.
So massage is one good way of getting it out. The other
Right.
forms of self-care are activity. And I don't exercise, but I'm not talking about spending 2 hours in the gym, every day.
Right. Right.
I'm talking about movement. And actually the best movement there is, walking is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yoga is great.
Mm-hmm.
Anything like Tai Chi,
Mm-hmm.
Qigong, dance, okay?
Yes.
Anything that's stretching and moving your body, okay?
Yeah.
That's another good thing. The other thing is simply what I call contemplation time, which is
Mm-hmm.
just, sitting, having a cup of tea, looking out the window, writing in a journal, watching a sunset, all these things, taking a walk in the forest, like the Japanese like to call it forest bathing, which I love, by the way.
Right.
Being out in nature, super important. Being out in nature, super, super important. So all these things are real self-care because
Right.
they have an energetic component to them.
Right.
The pamper stuff is great if you want to mix that in, because again, that says to yourself, unconsciously and consciously, I'm important. Okay.
Right.
Um, the other thing is being in or around water, super important. Okay. Showers as opposed to baths. Okay. Being in the ocean if you can. If not, a swimming pool would be.
So wait, go back. You said showers as opposed to bath? Because I
Yes.
always thought that bath was a more
No.
um okay,
I'll get to
explain.
explain to you. It's an
Okay.
energetic
Okay.
thing. Okay.
Okay.
From an energetic, see, being a psychic and being a sensitive is all about everything's about energy. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Everything is about energy. And the thing about a shower is a shower not only helps the energetic balance of your physical body, the
Hmm.
shower actually, everybody has like an aura, which is probably the easiest way to describe it. You have
Hmm.
energy bodies. You have like seven energy bodies at least all around you, your physical
Hmm.
body. So not only does the water cleanse your physical body, it also goes through. Water is the most powerful thing on this planet. Okay. We're
Mm.
just starting to really understand that. And the
Right.
water actually goes through your energetic bodies as well, cleaning out all those negative energies and balancing your energy bodies. The problem with a bath, okay,
Hmm.
is water actually pulls negative energy out of your body. Also,
Hmm.
on a physical level, it also pulls out toxins out of your body.
Toxins.
Okay.
Right.
The problem with being in a bath is you're literally sitting and soaking in your own negative energy and your own toxins that have come out of your body.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So when you have like a cleansing bath, like a Epsom salts or essential oils, I always say to people, you should not be soaking in that tub any longer than 10 minutes. Okay.
Hmm.
10 minutes, soak in the Epsom salts or the essential oils, whatever you're using for your cleansing ritual. Pull the plug, stand up, shower off. Okay. That's very important. If you have any kind of bath,
Hmm.
at all, even just a regular bath, a bubble bath or whatever, you should always be pulling the plug at the end, draining the water, stand there and shower off. Because
Okay.
then you are showering off that negative energy and those negative toxins that you've actually redeposited on your body by sitting in the bathtub.
Right. So that's spiritual and even and physical.
It's physical and
Spiritual,
energetic, both.
energetic. Is there
Yeah.
a difference between energies and spirit?
No,
Is,
that's
oh,
why
okay.
that's why I keep saying everything is energy. When you talk
Okay.
about spirit, spirit is energy. Okay, the
Okay.
universe is energy. Everything's energy.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
interchangeable.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because when I said spirit, you
I
corrected it
said
or
energy.
changed it. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. I'm like, is there a difference? Let me know so I know
No,
how to use it
but
right.
but people don't understand. See, this is why when you talk about spiritual and spirituality, a lot of people go like this, okay?
Right.
But if you talk about energy, and people go, oh, okay. It's the same thing. This is
It's the
part of
same thing.
this is part of the thing that a lot of people don't understand. We talk about spirits, it's energy. Everything is
Right.
energy.
Right. So going back, because my platform would talk, like I said, I talk about toxic relationships, healing from them, whether they're family, friends,
Oh,
or romantic partners. Right. And so you brought up something when you brought up your mom and, that whole idea of conditioning, I can't remember his name. He says we've been domesticated. We've been trained to think and behave in a lot of ways. And it all comes from the people that we were born up under because we come here a blank slate. How do you go back and using your intuition, using the energy, all those things to deal with and clear yourself of those toxic energies that came from people?
well,
Is that even the right question I'm asking?
well, it's a complicated question,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Because the reason that your parents put that crap on you is because somebody put that crap on them, okay?
Right.
It's a generational thing.
Right.
And from an energy point of view, from a spiritual point of view, okay, I
Hmm.
want you to take those two words interchangeably, okay? From
Okay.
an energy point of view, people think DNA is simply chemical, or they don't know,
Right.
okay? And this has been proven now by science. We've known this spiritually for thousands of years, but DNA is actually energetic,
Hmm. Okay.
okay? And the way these things, the most some of it is your idea of domestication, what we've heard and what we've been taught. But even a
Hmm.
more powerful thing that transfers those things from one generation to the next is literally in your DNA.
Mm.
Okay. If you've ever heard anybody talk about ancestral karma,
Uh-huh.
that's another way of describing it. That ancestral karma means the stuff that you've energetically been given in your DNA past generations in your lineage, both on your mother's side and your father's side. Okay.
Mm.
So that's right in your DNA energetically. So you have to go. There's a number of different ways to heal those things. Okay. There's
Mhm.
energy healing. There's a lot of the self-care that we've been talking about, because the biggest underlying one that goes through generation to generation is this feeling of unworthiness or
Mm-hmm.
not being good enough. Okay. Those sound like the same thing, but they're actually different. Okay.
Okay.
Because worthiness, your actual worth as a being.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not being good enough refers to anything you do not being up to par.
Mm-hmm.
You see that I know they're kind of intertwined, but they're not
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same thing. So
Worthiness is more inherent to, I don't know if I'm using the words right, is more
worthiness is, see, okay, let me give you you are worthy simply because you have incarnated on this planet.
right,
Okay.
right,
Your worthiness is intrinsic.
right.
Okay. But we've been taught that we're not. Even some religions, okay, I'm
Mhm.
probably going to take some flack for this, but I'm just going to go here anyway.
Go
The
ahead, go
best
there.
example I can give you is Christianity,
Yeah.
because there's a belief in, especially in Catholicism, there's a
Mm-hmm.
belief in what's the term they use? Original sin, that
Original
you
sin.
were
Yeah.
born a sinner. Okay.
Yes.
How much less worthy could you be than being told over and over again that you came into this world as a sinner? So you're
Right.
basically a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Because that's what that's really saying.
Yeah.
Because in the religion, a sinner is the lowest of the low. So what
Yeah.
they're really saying to you is you're the lowest of the low when you're born.
Mm.
And you have to earn the right
Mm.
to be welcomed by God. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's some other religions too that have similar things within them. Okay.
Right.
But that's what I'm talking about, worthiness. So what this is saying to people is you're not even worthy to be here from the
Right.
get-go. And
Right.
that is the exact opposite of the truth.
Right. And
Because
I heard
when you're born into this world, you are a child. If I can, I'll put it in the same language. You are a child of God. You are you were made in God's image. So
mm-hmm.
therefore, i.e., you are God. Okay?
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
much more worthy could you be than being a particle of God? You see?
Right. I heard a Jewish rabbi say before, and he was talking about the difference of us Christians being born as sinners, but with the Jewish people, they're born as the chosen ones, the
Yes.
chosen
Yes.
people. So they don't have that same,
Well, let me clarify too. Not all Christians, because there's a
oh
lot
no,
of
yeah.
different denominations.
Yes.
There's a
Yes.
lot of Christians that do not believe, actually, I think all of Protestantism, but this
Right.
is where the split came,
Right.
believe
Right.
that
Right.
does not believe in original sin. Okay.
Right. 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 But
I
I was
think it's
just
actually, I just wanted, because I'll have people going at
thank
me,
you.
"Oh, we don't believe in that. We don't believe in that." Yeah.
Right. Right. Thank you
But
for clarifying.
the premise of that
Yeah.
is what is what really, you know, and it's not just in that Catholicism. It's the idea that we have to earn
Yes.
our
Yeah.
status. Okay.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that believe that and belief systems where you have to earn your status as a good person. Okay.
Right.
And women, especially in our
Yeah.
society, have been told from practically the second they're born that their whole purpose, they're not worthy in of themselves. They are here to serve and help everybody else.
Everybody, everybody
Everybody
else.
else, to their own detriment. Okay, to their own
Yes.
detriment. That they don't
Yes.
matter. The whole reason they're here is to serve everyone else. Now, if
Right.
that's not being taught to be unworthy, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So there's all different, and I'm gonna turn this around, because there's also a male there's a lot of men in our society who have been taught that if they are not a wonderful provider, both
Mm-hmm.
financially and
Mm-hmm.
from an aspect of being protector of the
Right.
family, if they're not that, then they're worthless.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that is their only worth, is by, providing for the family, and intrinsically, if you extend that, they don't have any other worth. Okay, so
Right.
it's not just, but I do see it more strongly in women as opposed to men,
Mm-hmm.
but it is different. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of men who have such low self-esteem because they don't see themselves as being successful,
Mm-hmm.
and from a male point of view, they've been brainwashed to believe if they're not financially and career and family successful, then they're not worthy. You see? So
Right.
it's a double-edged sword.
Right. So you gave us some things and to turn that around. We talked about meditation. We talked about self-care. You have to remind me what else. I didn't take notes.
Energy
Energy.
healing is a
Yeah.
wonderful way.
Yeah.
And what else? Did I miss something?
Yeah. Well, I have to find
Oh,
it.
giving to others. This is they just brought this up. This is interesting. Giving to others from the heart
Hmm.
instead of giving to others because we believe that we have to.
Hmm.
Okay. And it just goes back to what I just said. Women are
Hmm.
taught that they have to do it because that's their job. Okay.
Right.
Men are taught, well, just in different ways. Men are also taught that they have to, it's giving different things. Women are supposed to be the supporters, the emotional, looking after people's physical needs, cooking, caring, all those things. That's the woman's thing. And the
Hmm.
men's thing is the financial, the career, the taking care of the protecting the family, all that. Now, this is predominantly from a Western developed point of view. This doesn't
Right.
include the whole world, but that's basically who we're talking to. So,
Mhm.
so instead of doing it because you feel that you have to, that's what you're supposed to do because that's what you've been told to do, start doing
Right.
it because that's what you want to do. That's what you feel is your thing. Okay, there's a very different energy between those two things.
So would that suggest if you don't feel like it for whatever reason, don't force yourself to give in those areas too?
Well, okay, yeah. The thing is, you have to realize that it's like love, okay? If you don't love yourself, you can't truly love anyone else. Okay,
Okay.
that's not just a saying, that's absolutely true. It's the
Right.
same thing with giving. If you're not giving to yourself, feeding yourself, you can't give to anyone else
Right.
either. So what you're
Right.
talking about is these people that givers to their own detriment. Okay. That's
Right.
not
Right.
truly giving. That's
Okay.
giving because you think you have to give. And that's
Okay.
over giving. Okay. You don't
Right.
have to be everything. And it's gotten worse for women. Okay.
Hmm.
Just gonna put this in there. The reason is we're men's in the Western world, men's role hasn't, I don't care who says to the difference, it really hasn't changed on a general scale.
Right.
Women's role, not only, okay, so now after the, I get in trouble for this too. After the
Uh-oh.
women's movement, okay, women think that
Right.
we've come so far. That's not
Right.
true. Okay, if you really look at what's happened, we've actually in some ways made it worse for
We
ourselves.
set
Because
ourselves back.
now, back in the day, a woman was supposed to be a great mother, a great wife, and look after the house. Okay,
Right.
that was it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, a woman is supposed to be an incredible mother, uh, go out and have a incredible household, go out and
Right.
have a career and make tons of money, be a
Right.
be an incredible sexy wife, uh,
Right.
be absolutely perfect looking,
Right.
okay, and be all and end all to her community. Like
Right.
really? Like, one
Who can
person.
do all of that?
Exactly. And there's this is one of the other biggest lies to women. You can have it all.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah.
Sorry. Again, this is like that magic pill
Right.
belief. Okay? No, you can't have it all. You can have a
Right.
lot, but you
Right.
can't have it all because you can't do all those things 100%. There's just no way. You die.
Right.
Well, that's why women are so burnt out and
Mm-hmm.
so fed up and so angry because they've been trying to be everything to everybody. It doesn't work.
But what do you say to the women that have, I mean,
I'm not
they're
saying that you
divorced, they're
can't have
single.
these things, but
Right.
you cannot be, there's no way you can do all these things to the level that you want to do them and survive. It's just
So,
impossible.
so is that the mindset shift that needs to happen
Yes,
in order?
that's the
Okay.
mind. Because what really has to happen is women have to sit down, and it's going to be different for everyone. Okay, there
Mm-hmm.
is no one size fits all. You have to,
Right.
as a woman, you have to sit down and decide what is really important to you.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and you also have to have a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because men's expectations have become ridiculous. All those things I just chimed off, men now
Mm-hmm.
expect that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not only all the traditional things, but they also expect their wives to be having, premier careers, making
Mm-hmm.
close to as much, and in some cases more money
Right.
than they do.
Right.
And yet, and also be this sex goddess in the bedroom.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm sorry. No.
It's not happening.
It's not happening, okay? So you have to decide. And the same thing, I think one of the biggest decisions for men and women these days, and this is what's wrong with our society, is why we're having these breeding these ridiculously uh, ill-functioning adults.
Mm-hmm.
Is you have to make some I've seen people put more thought process into deciding what kind of car they want than
Mm.
whether they should or should not have children.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
If you decide that you want to have children, there's going to be sacrifices to the other parts of your life. If you're going to be raising these children to be good adults, there's like again, this was the myth of having it all. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about both from the male side and from the female side. Okay.
Right.
If you really want children and you want to really raise them properly, there's no way that you can do all this stuff that we're doing now. Have two
Right.
people with two high power careers. Not going to
Mm.
happen. And I don't
Right.
care who, I think both people, in terms of their careers, are going to have to make sacrifices because
Right.
to raise a child properly, you
Mm-hmm.
need both mother and father,
Yeah.
or people who are taking on those roles. And same sex relationships, same thing. Both parents have to be involved with
Mm-hmm.
raising that child. So that
Mm-hmm.
means that both parents are going to have to make sacrifices. They're going to have to
Mm.
make sacrifices in their careers. They're going
Mm-hmm.
to have to make sacrifices in their own personal interests.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because they can't be doing all these hobbies and all these things that don't involve their children.
Mm.
I don't mean they can't do anything, but they
Right.
certainly can't do things to the level that people are trying to do it now.
Right. Well, let's speak to the single woman for a moment, because a lot of things that you're saying it
Yeah.
with partners, and there are a lot of women out here, even as myself, that are not married, don't have a partner, and yet we have all these needs to take care of, but it's so much, and it's overwhelming. Where do we start? Where do the
What
others
are you
start?
talking about in terms of needs? Are you talking about your personal needs or your financial?
Yeah,
What are you talking
personal needs, or I mean, even both with the you have. Well, let's take me out then. The one that has young children but has to go out
about?
and
Okay.
work
Okay.
and have this career to take care of, because
Yeah.
who else is
Yeah.
going to do it?
Well, therein lies a problem. Okay, in the
Yeah.
future, and that's not
Hmm.
too distant future. I'm going to just go here for a minute, and then I'll get back directly to your
Okay.
question. In the future, one of the biggest changes that I can see happening for the human race is the way we raise children.
Mm.
Okay? Because this whole idea of being a single parent, and I don't care whether you're a single mother or a single father raising children, because there's a lot more single fathers now than there ever used to be before. Usually it was all
Right.
single women. Okay? But the problems are equally the same for both.
Mhm.
Okay? And it's exacerbated by the fact that, there's that saying that it takes a village to raise a
Mhm.
child, because
Mhm.
we no longer have those, or most people no longer have all those multi-generational support systems and community support systems.
Mhm.
This is why it's so difficult, okay, for single parents to be raising children, because not only they're basically doing it on their own. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So in the future, I see us going back to more of like the only thing I can compare it to is like the tribal idea of when,
Mhm.
you had a mother, a father, aunts, uncles, grandparents, the tribe, okay, the community that helped you raise your children. Okay, there was no such thing as even a couple on their own raising children. Okay, there was
Mhm.
always all these multi-dimensional, multi generational family members, as well as their community, whatever that looked like. Okay. So, what I'm saying to single parents is, if you want to lighten your load, if you want to have better kids, if you want to raise them, give them more and raise them the way you want to, you have to find ways of doing that,
Mhm.
building that support structure around yourself.
Okay.
Because you can't on your own, nobody can do that on their own without
Right.
some kind of support structure. So there's a bunch of different ways about uh, uh, going at that. If you
Mhm.
don't have a family around you, you have to look at building a non-blood family. And I can tell you from
Mm.
my own experience, the non-blood family often is better than your blood family. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. You get
Okay.
to choose them.
Yeah, you get so actually that's a good way of looking at it. Your family of choice, okay? So
Yeah.
for all single parents out there, I would suggest that you start doing everything you can to start building a family of choice, because it's not going to
Mhm.
only help your children, it's going to help you, okay?
Mhm.
That's the big
Okay.
thing. The other thing is knowing that, giving yourself permission, not to be everything to everyone, because you can't be everywhere, okay? And you have to make some really hard decisions.
Yeah.
What is most important to me? What am I willing to sacrifice in order to raise my kids the way I want to raise them? Okay.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not about money.
Right.
Okay? This is where so many people get, they think, oh, I've got to make more money to give my kids this and give my kids that. You know what? Raising good kids is not about money. Once you've
Right.
got the roof over their head, clothes on their back, and food in their bellies, what's really important is the time you spend with your children. And again,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to involve money. Taking your
Mhm.
kids to the park, going for walks, riding
Mhm.
bikes.
Right.
It's the time, watching special television programs with them. Okay.
Right.
And I'm not
Me and my
talking about
kid.
regular TV. I'm talking about like
Right.
educational things and good stuff. Okay.
Yeah. One way
So
I like to spend time with my boys is we create a meal together. It's one thing to eat together, but us cooking
perfect, perfect.
together
This is exactly what
is
I'm
an
talking about.
excellent, yeah, excellent way to
Feeding.
spend time with them. Yeah.
One of the biggest things that has sort of disappeared with families these days is
Yeah.
reading bedtime stories.
Yes. Yes.
It's huge,
Yes.
huge, huge,
Yes.
huge,
Yeah.
huge. Okay.
Yeah.
That time, we're talking about quality time. And this is as a
Mhm.
single parent, you know this. I know you know this.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
defining quality time versus hours, okay?
Mhm.
Because hours doesn't, there's a lot of people who spend time with their kids, but if it's not quality time, it doesn't matter. You might as
Yeah.
well. So if you've only got so much time because you're working and you've got to do all these other things when you're a single parent because you don't have a partner, make
Mhm.
sure that the time you are spending with your kids is really high quality time.
Mhm.
Okay. Because you can make an hour with your kids turn into 3 or 4 hours
Yeah.
of actual value. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're just doing nothing, you know, and, create, even taking your kids out shopping, okay,
Mm-hmm.
grocery shopping, you can
Mm-hmm.
turn taking your kids grocery shopping into quality time
Oh yeah. Yeah. We play
by
games. My
teaching your
mother
kids
taught us.
things, there's so many different ways. Like you have to
Yeah.
get creative, okay?
Yeah.
And when it comes to work, you have to look at, okay, they're bringing this up. I've talked to a lot of single parents, both male and female, who think that they have to get a second job or a side hustle in order to get more money to buy these things that they think their kids should have. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you right now, you'd be better off spending quality time with your kids than being away from them, having
Mm-hmm.
a second job to buy
Mm-hmm.
these things that you think they need, which they really don't.
Right.
Okay.
And I know that's hard for some to hear because
It is
some people
hard.
are working
It is
to
hard.
even
But
just
that
take
is
care of their
so much
basics.
brainwashing, okay?
Yeah.
That's like keeping up with the Joneses. That's like really really, does your kid need a $300 pair of Nikes?
Right.
Okay, really? No, they
Right.
don't. Okay.
Right.
Um, they just need a good quality pair of sneakers and they need to take that money and do something educational for them or do something fun with them. Take them on a
Right.
camping trip. I don't, whatever your thing is and whatever your kids are interested in,
Right.
or spend that money to actually do something like having them in sports if that's what they really want to do. Instead of
Right.
buying the $300 pair of sneakers, use that money to get them actually playing a sport.
Right. Yeah.
That kind of thing. So that's what single parents have those two things, creating a support and a community around yourself and really evaluating what's most important for your kids.
Right. Now, I want to take a minute to bring this back home because I know we started one way going towards tapping into your authenticity, and we're here at single parents. And I know it, to some listeners, I know it's going to sound like these are totally different things and that we're
No,
all
they're
over the place. However, I also understand that tapping into your authenticity actually helps you on this back end of what we're talking about as being
yes, it
parents.
does.
I know a lot of women who feel like they can't, oh, and we'll say single parents. I know a lot of parents that feel like they can't be and do certain things with their children because they have these beliefs and they're operating in this masked version of themselves that's not them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you, when it comes to children,
Mm-hmm.
this is so spiritual slash energetic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Children do not learn things by what you tell them. Okay.
Right.
Children learn by your example.
Exactly.
Okay. So if you want well-rounded, balanced, authentic children, guess
Mm-hmm.
what? You
Yeah.
have to be authentic. And I can tell you right now, there is no better Geiger counter of
Yeah.
authenticity than children.
Yeah.
Okay? Where
Yeah.
you can put those masks on and fool adults and everything like that, I can tell,
Oh.
especially young children, okay, under the age of 7 years old, okay?
Yeah.
You cannot fool a kid. And if you're walking around pretending you're somebody you're not, I can tell
Mm-hmm.
you right now, the first one that knows that is your kid.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Okay. And then think about what you're teaching them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's confusing them and that's making them think that that's what they have to do
Right.
in order to be accepted, liked, and loved. Not
Right.
only by people outside, but the really scary part is by you.
By you. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's where all the toxic relationships begin.
Exactly. That is exactly. Well, I'm going to tell you something. We touched on the whole idea of our ancestral karma at the very
Uh-huh.
beginning. And
Hmm.
so many people they ask me how to break this ancestral karma. The way
Hmm.
you break ancestral karma, you break that chain, generational chain, is by healing yourself.
Yes,
And
yes.
the wonderful spiritual, energetic
Yeah,
truth
yes.
about that is if you break the chain by healing yourself, you
Hmm.
actually heal at least 7 generations back
Generational,
and
yes.
7 generations forward. So
Yeah.
there's nothing, if you think about it this way, there's no bigger gift to your children than healing
Hmm.
yourself. Okay?
Hmm.
Because if you heal yourself, you
Hmm.
also heal them and their children and their children's children and on and on and on.
Yeah,
Okay? So
yeah,
you make it so that they don't have to go through as an adult all the things that you've gone through because they
yes.
came from your. Oh.
Yeah,
So I can't think of a better gift to give a beloved child than that
yeah,
gift.
yeah. Then to love yourself, to heal yourself.
To heal
Yes,
yourself. Well,
yeah,
loving yourself is
yes,
healing yourself is part of loving yourself. Yeah.
yes. Yep.
And
Well, that
that's
was
what people don't
awesome.
understand.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've been kind of all over the place, and it's been a great conversation. I'm definitely going to have you back because there's some other things that I did want to talk about, but we're running out of time here. It's, like I said,
So
this could go
it's like
so
Laura
many.
2.0.
Yes, Laura 2.0. Yes. So I want to thank you. With any closing statements, what would you, if you can give one message to every woman out here trying to heal, grow, and figure life out, what would you want her to know right now?
Start the journey because it is a journey. Start the
Yeah.
journey to discovering your authentic self
Yes.
because that journey will change your entire life. Anything and everything, all the problems and things swirling around you and not knowing this. I can't remember who said it. If you're, I'm going to paraphrase because I wish I could remember the exact quote. If you don't know what to do, work
Mhm.
on yourself.
Mm. Okay,
Okay.
that's good.
So if you're feeling lost, confused, and not knowing where you start with working on yourself, because that
Okay.
is the path to finding out all those other things.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So if anybody wants to work with you, how would they find you?
Well, easy ways. Number one, you can check site, which is www.spiritspeaks2, the number 2.me. Or you can email me directly at laurahorweg@gmail.com. That's really easy. I'm all over Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X. And I'm sure that our lovely horse, hostess, sorry, babe, Dorie is going to put all my links in the show notes.
Every single one. I'm going to put everyone in the
I
show
love it. I
notes.
love
So,
it. I just
all
noticed
right.
it's so cute. Your microphone actually matches your hair, at least on
I
my screen.
know.
At least on my screen.
No, it is purple along with my
Yeah,
nails. It's like
I love
I don't want
purple.
to be the crazy purple lady, but it looks like it's going that way. So, well, thank you, Laura. I appreciate all your wisdom and knowledge that you shared with us today. And like I said, I'll make sure that everyone has your contact information for those that want to work with you and definitely look forward to talking with you again. With that being said, I want to thank everyone for listening to Don't Ask Me Shit, where the truth might be uncomfortable, but it will set you free if you're willing to do the work. If something you heard today hit home, sit with it, process it, and decide what you're going to do next. Please do not run. Do not run. Sit with it, process it, and decide what you're going to do next. And remember, you can always ask Coach Dorie, but if you're not willing to do the work, don't ask me shit. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who needs the real conversation in their life, and we will see you the next time. Bye.
Bye.